Welcome, fellow traveler. Cud is a land of mystery, with danger at every step. I've wandered these lands far and wide, and today, I wish to share with you some of the knowledge that I have gained in hopes to increase your chances of survival in this beautiful yet unforgiving world. The salt marsh makes a great spot for those new to Cud. It's a wet and overgrown land. All around you'll find plants native to the area. There are brine stalks and water vines, which may yield vine wafers for a quick hydrating snack. But plants aren't the only inhabitants. The marshes draw in all sorts of wildlife. You'll find giant dragonflies, glowfish, and glowpads in abundance. They're usually friendly but can hold their own if you try to provoke them. Less friendly, and thankfully less common to see, is the croc. Crocs will attack if they see you, but also don't get along with the other wildlife. If you can defeat a croc, however, it will reward a fair bit of experience for a new adventurer. Rarely, one may run into a snapjaw. One or two snapjaw scavengers can probably be handled with ease, even more so than a croc. However, the more advanced snapjaw ranks, such as the brute, warrior, or warlord, can be extremely dangerous. To make matters worse, snapjaws often travel in large packs. 2 snapjaw scavengers can be easily handled, a group of 10, not so much. I advise that if you're just getting your bearings in this strange land, don't take any chances. Run away, find a few crocs to get some fighting experience, and later, if you think you can handle it, come back for the snapjaws. Though they can be tough to fight, they often carry valuable loot. There are also a few points of interest one may encounter. Ruins and lairs are scattered all over Cud, and the marshes are no exception. Just like fighting a pack of snapjaws, these locations can offer great reward at a higher risk. You may also encounter villages around these parts. They provide a place to rest and recover, and the townsfolk often have jobs that can reward much needed experience and artifacts, as well as revealing potentially profitable locations. The salt marsh is a calm and mostly quiet place. If you are new to Cud, this is a great place to start your adventure. There are secrets tucked away in the shadow of the water vine, but those I'll leave for you to discover. The Salt Desert is a vast expanse spanning the western border of the world. The land is often featureless, meaning you can spot dangers from far away, hopefully before they spot you. Some of these dangers include the graceful yet terrifying dawn glider. They fly through the air, making it difficult to fight them off without a ranged weapon, while also spitting deadly flames. They're one of the biggest threats of the desert, and I suggest running from them until you are very prepared. You'll also see packs of raiders, as the Isakari tribe call the Salt Desert home. Like snapjaw packs, it's best to take them out one at a time if possible. 1 or 2 can usually be lured away from the pack quite easily. Watch out for the riflers though, as they can hit hard. But if you can best a rifler, you can take their rifle, which might make fending off dawn gliders a bit easier. Not everything is hostile, however. Dromad caravans are a common sight here, and these traders can be a good source of equipment and water. The desert is littered with ruins, and whatever loot you can't use can be traded to these merchants. They can also stock you up with ammo for that Isakari rifle. You may also see Mechanimous pilgrims roaming the desert who are typically friendly, and may offer some nice supplies for sale. But be wary of the Putis Templars. They're friendly enough for Trukin, but will attack mutants on sight. Though there are plenty of interesting things hidden among the dunes, you may end up going long stretches without seeing anything. Just keep at it, and eventually you'll uncover these secrets. Just don't forget to bring plenty of water for long trips. Though distinctly 2 separate terrains, desert canyons and hills are similar in structure and inhabitants. You'll often wind through narrow valleys and dales. Desert canyons are recognized by valleys carved through their red shale, while hill areas gleam white with marl. There is much overlap in local wildlife of the 2 areas, such as the common boar and the goat. In the hills, you'll more commonly run into honey skunks. Even if they're friendly to you, they often release their corrosive gas to fend off their other natural predators. This can make navigating the narrow passages more difficult, so it's best to let the gas dissipate before moving forward. Desert canyons tend to be a bit more dangerous to the new adventurer, being home to the fearsome salthopper and a higher density of snapjaw forts where the strongest snapjaws often lie in wait. Carnivorous vines also prefer the climate of the canyons and can quickly spell death for anyone caught unprepared. The flower fields of Cud are as beautiful as they are dangerous. Among the more threatening creatures you may find here are from the boar family, fire snouts, slug snouts, and the dreaded two-headed slug snouts. If you have to fight, draw them close to you as they won't attack with their slug shot at point blank. Be wary of the feral law, a plant which, of itself, is no real danger, but the tumbling pods it spits out can explode, often chaining explosions with other nearby pods to cause massive damage to the surrounding area and anyone nearby. The flower fields are also home to the Nephthali, a mysterious and tribal people who often travel in large groups. They are territorial and will attack on sight, though they aren't very strong. One can quickly be overwhelmed by their numbers. However, if you can befriend them, the legendary godhead that often travels with them may be able to put in a good word for you with the robots of the world, which can be a very good thing. Just be sure to bring some oil if you plan on gaining their favor. If you find yourself in a river in Cud, you may see some sights reminiscent of the salt marsh. Though the water vines have been replaced with mangrove trees and the water is more plentiful, you'll still find an assortment of water-dwelling fauna, glowpads, glowfish, and our old friend the croc. However, there's one terrifying creature that also calls the river its home, the madpole. Madpoles specialize in dismemberment. If even a drop of blood falls on them, they become frenzied, and if they attack you in this state, will almost certainly separate you from your limbs. They can't get to you if you're on dry land, but that's far and few between in the river. Madpoles can be extremely dangerous even to a seasoned explorer. For this reason, I advise to steer clear of rivers. However, if you must venture through them, take a good ranged weapon to keep the madpoles at a distance, and bring an Uber Nostrum injector or two to recover any lost limbs in case of an emergency. One of the less remarkable regions of Cud are the mountain ranges that outline the northeastern borders of the world. The terrain here can be hard to navigate. Bringing along a pickaxe may help with that, but there is little to find here. There are cannibals in the mountains, though despite having a meat-rich diet, they're typically quite weak. If nothing else, come here if you want to take a break from it all, and enjoy the quiet mountain air. Woe is the overconfident adventurer who wanders into the jungle. More vast than the desert and much more dangerous, the jungle is the domain of goat folk. They often travel in small to mid-sized packs, but can congregate in larger numbers to establish goat folk villages, where they hoard valuable loot. One of the most dangerous of the goat folk is the sower, who will throw explosive seeds with reckless abandon, often damaging his goatkin in the process. If a sower has you in its sights, it's best to hide behind something that blocks movement and wait for him to get close, as they will not throw seeds in melee range. Thankfully, there are many trees around in the jungle that provide just such an opportunity. Outside the goat folk villages, you'll often find tribes at war with the Nephthali who also roam the jungle. Another particularly dangerous creature here is the ice frog, which can freeze you solid, leaving you unable to defend yourself until you thaw out. It might be a good idea to wear some cold-resistant gear. No matter what you do though, remember that there are many dangers in the jungle. Do not venture into these lands without careful consideration. Scattered throughout the jungle, you may notice the various ruins crumbling away on the surface. Though the vast underground network of caves and ruins below Cud is beyond the scope of this travel guide, it would be incomplete to not mention these ruins. The surface level may hold a few scant artifacts, and the strata below is where the real treasure awaits. But these ruins will not relinquish these treasures so easily. Be prepared for a challenging fight. You will see foes familiar to the jungle and some unfamiliar. Goat folk can be found in extremely large packs, gun turrets of all sorts, fire-spitting ants, and breathbeards, just to name a few. As a general rule, the deeper you delve, the stronger the enemies you encounter, but the possibility of better loot also increases. If you're willing to take that risk, then the ruins might be the place for you. If not paying attention, one could easily cross over from the jungle into the deep jungle without realizing it. The deep jungle harbors even deadlier creatures than its western neighbor. There's the acid-utilizing purple gel and tartbeard, and the powerful deep slumberling. The flying bat creature, the life sap, is not physically much of a threat, but its attack may permanently drain you of your health. There are few goat folk this deep in the jungle, though the ones that are here are much more fearsome. In remote pockets, you may happen upon goat folk haunts, and occupying these haunts are the goat folk Clippeth. Like other goat folk, they carry and hoard good loot, even better than their lower tier kin. Thankfully, the Clippeth are more solitary in nature, and haunts rarely house more than 2, but they should not be taken lightly. Analogous to the ruins of the jungle, the deep jungle ruins are often referred to as Baroque Ruins. Be warned, these are some of the most dangerous areas in all of Cud. If you thought life saps were bad, how about their kin who can permanently drain you of your strength, or intelligence, or your ego? Breathbeards that, in addition to spitting acid, also spit fire, ice, or noxious gases that put you to sleep or confuse you. And there are also the High Dervish Seekers, and don't forget the turrets that are even deadlier here. Now, I'm not going to spoil all of the mystery for you, but again, if you decide to go cave diving here, the rewards are high, and the risk is even higher. A curious detour far north of the jungle is the banana groves of Ezra. Here, the very trees are hostile to outsiders. There are also addyflies native to the land. The flies have limited vision and the trees are immobile, so with careful movement, one may navigate through the grove unscathed. There is little else of note here, however, one may wish to harvest bananas or yonder cane, which grow among the trees. Just mind the addyflies. If they infect you, it might be you that ends up with limited vision. At the heart of the jungle, and in fact Cud itself, is the Rainbow Wood. Traveling too close to the wood, one may inexplicably find themselves lost within it, the only means of escape being to find your own way out. The Rainbow Wood is where fungi reign supreme. This is also home to the various weeps and the soupy sludges that rise from the massive spawning pools of primordial soup interacting with the liquids from said weeps. Sludges will absorb liquids as they pass through them, gaining bonuses and strength for each liquid. Sludges with a few liquids absorbed are relatively tame, but after absorbing several liquids, they can become extremely powerful. As usual with fungi, be careful of their spores lest you get a fungal infection. If you're on good terms with fungi and oozes, then you have little to worry about here. Otherwise, just run from the oozes, as even weak sludges can spawn in extremely large numbers. Coral plants dot the large body of algal water making up Lake Hinnom. The lake is home to many species of water dwellers, and as usual, some may not take kindly to your intrusion. Almost everywhere you go, you will encounter the Svartum, who spawn in large numbers in these waters. Each warrior is formidable, with the Svartum Eld being potentially the most dangerous with their unpredictable nature. The Sultan Croc is considerably more of a threat than its salt marsh roaming counterpart. It hides in the water, waiting for its victim to get within striking range, and can dismember a limb just as swiftly as a madpole. And be careful not to step on any clams, as their portal muscle will teleport you to a random area elsewhere in the reef. What was once a monument of achievement now lies in ruins, abandoned and overtaken by hostile creatures. You'll find many of the same creatures from Lake Hinnom here, in addition to some new threats. There is the Enigma snail, who spits out a confusion-causing cone and can sap you of your willpower. The tongue tyrant plants, who often grow in clusters and use their long sticky tongue to pull in unsuspecting victims and not let them escape. The plasma gel, which can cover you in an extremely corrosive plasma. And one of the deadliest machines in all the land, the Gao Gao. If you see one and are not on good terms with robots, run. Gao Gaos are so quick they can kill you before you even realize you're dead. The danger cannot be overstated. Do not mess around with Gao Gaos. On the other hand, the reef can offer a bounty of useful resources. The palladium struts winding around these reefs are often overgrown with coral polyps. Be sure to examine them, as they may contain precious sun slag. One sip of this sun slag will quicken your step a bit, permanently. Also, the Kaleidos slug, which roams these waters, can be skinned. In addition to looking great, their furs make excellent coverings for resisting the elements. At the extreme eastern edge of the world lies the enigmatic Moon Stair. Sometimes called the Deathlands, they can be inhospitable to an unprepared explorer. The terrain is both strange and beautiful, as large crystal structures form a natural labyrinth which demands respect. There are pools of dilute warm static which are best avoided, as stepping in one could have unpredictable results, not always for the better. The inhabitants of the Moon Stair are equally exotic and even more dangerous. The Chrome Pyramid makes its home here. This is the king of robots. It is incredibly resilient and keeps itself protected by a force wall at all times, while firing a volley of missiles at its target. If you can somehow disarm it of its missile-launching swarm rack, as well as bypass the force wall, you'll have a much easier time taking one down, but it's still quite a formidable opponent. There's also the Leering Stalker, another powerful robot, though not as tough as a Chrome Pyramid. Some creatures are not as physically strong, but rather their danger lies in their mental abilities. The in-dimensional Starshell, for example, which can rip open a space-time vortex that can teleport you to any random location in the world, including potentially 40 strata down surrounded by terrifying beasts. There's also the Dream Krungle that can force you into a deep dream. Its killer be killed in a Dream Krungle's waking dream. If you die in the dream, you die a little bit on the inside when you wake up. You'll also find Zero Gels here, which, in addition to causing many random effects on hit, spew out more of that dilute static when killed. If you have to engage, try to take them out from a distance to avoid splashing it all over yourself. They do, however, sometimes drop pure warm static, which can be used for all kinds of shenanigans. If you've been able to best everything else in CUD to make it to the Moon Stair, you've probably learned the skills necessary for handling these new threats. Still, even an experienced traveler may lose their way here. When venturing into the Moon Stair, come well equipped and always have an exit plan. And that is the land of CUD, or rather, a portion of what I know of it. This world holds far more secrets than any one traveler can grasp in a lifetime. But what I've told you should be more than enough to get your bearings. There are many more secrets hidden in every corner, and if you're willing to face the risks, they are yours to discover. Live and drink, friend.